Fade into board members seated at table.
I'd like to welcome everybody. Oh, I need to pound my gavel that's not here. Welcome everybody to the March 17th, 2025 regular Board of Education meeting. We're going to start with the pledge.
Everyone stands for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everyone returns to their seats. Jim Batson.
Okay, welcome everybody. Can we have a roll call, please?
Jim Batson.
Here.
Kara Benjamin. Here. Don Carmichael.
Here.
Kara Drumkey. Lisa Hessel.
Here.
Middleish Cotwall. Sanal Kulkarni.
Okay, we do have a quorum. We have some board members with a lot of things going on, so we'll keep this short tonight. I'm just going to review the agenda briefly. Oh yeah, let's do that. Thank you again for reminding me. We need a secretary pro tem, so I'd like to appoint Lisa Hessel as the secretary pro tem for tonight. Okay. I'm going to review the agenda. We have a public hearing on our e-learning plan. And this is just actually a renewal of a plan that's already in place, but we have to go through that process. We have under communication, student recognition, invitation for public comment, a teacher union report. I understand we will not have a educational support professional union report tonight. So school board representative reports, and we're kind of, must be the night. A lot of people have lots of things going on. So, but we look forward to hearing from the two of you. We have a couple FOIA requests, and then we'll have a superintendent's report. Consent vote agenda will come after that. And then we have quite a few action things, but we'll get through them quickly. We'll vote on the e-learning plan. We have an ombudsman service agreement, IHSA membership. I don't think I'm going to read through these. We're going to get to them. Have a couple of informational items. Anything from CEDAW? Okay, we'll have a CEDAW report. I'll have an IASB report. Okay. And then we will have executive session tonight for collective negotiating matters and employment of employees. And we will have likely one action item after that closed session. So let's go back to the top. We'll start with the public hearing on the e-learning plan for the 25-26 through the 27-28 school years. So I declare the public hearing open. Have a little presentation here. Or discussion?
Yeah, discussion. I was going to say not much of a presentation tonight. Was presented in the committee meetings last week. There are no changes to our plan. Every 3 years, the district has to submit our e-learning plan to the state of Illinois. This plan would be put in place if school had to go remote, and that would be also for weather-related types of issues so that we would not have to go to a full school closure. As you know, we have 2 emergency days built into our school calendar each year. So the first 2 days, if we had snow days, for example, those would be traditional snow days. But if we needed to do a 3rd day, rather than extend the school year into June, we would put into place our e-learning plan. And the e-learning plan, as you read, outlines exactly what our teachers' responsibilities are, what our student responsibilities are, and how our students and families would be notified of that. This has been the plan that we've had in place for the last several years, and when we've had to use it, it has worked very well.
Okay, let's just hope we don't have any snow days yet this year.
I hope we're out of snow days.
But it can be used for other things, as you say. It can be used for a lot of things that would help avoid using additional days off. So we do have an opportunity here for public comment. This is related to the e-learning plan specifically. So if anyone has any comments or questions, please step up to the microphone. Okay, seeing none. I will declare the hearing closed, and we will vote on this later in the agenda. Okay, moving on. We have some student recognition.
Dr. John Gilliam approaches the podium.
Good evening. I'm John Gilliam, the principal of Vernon Hills High School. Welcome, everybody. I have the privilege of wrapping up our winter season with some fantastic results. Some tonight, some will probably be next month. Even as recent as Saturday, we had a second place in state for our unified basketball team. That's a district sport. So some excellent results. And tonight we get to honor 3 of our athletes who are part of teams, but tonight we recognize their individual accomplishments. And these 3 are pretty remarkable young people. So I'm glad we get to stand here tonight and celebrate them. I'm going to first bring up Coach Jesse Walter, who is our wrestling coach, and he has with him one strong, fine young man, Ilya. So, Coach, I'll let you come up and talk about Ilya.
Jesse Walter approaches the podium.
Thanks, Dr. G. This young man is Ilya Dvoryanikov. He's a junior here at Vernon Hills High School. We spoke about him last year. He's one remarkable athlete. He placed 3rd in the IHSA wrestling tournament this year, 165-pound weight class. Last year, as a sophomore, Ilya told me that his goal was to be a state champion. And he didn't even place his freshman year. He came close, but he lost in the match to place. So that was a pretty bold goal. Well, he found himself in the state finals last year and placed 2nd. He had an unbelievable season. So this year he had his sights set on winning it, and had a tragic loss in the quarterfinals that was one that just slipped away from him, and could not have been more proud of this young man's response. Adversity reveals character, and that showed at this tournament. He came back and rattled off about 4 wins to place 3rd this year. In the 3rd place match, he found himself against the kid that we were hoping to see in the state finals. The kid was the number 1 seed in the state. He was 40-0 going into the state tournament. It was the match we were looking forward to. So it was good that we got the kid for 3rd, and we ended up getting the better of him and winning that match to place 3rd. So I left the tournament feeling like Ilya won the state championship. I know he didn't, and he's hungry for next year, but I left there feeling like we did. Just a couple quick stats about Ilya. Ilya leads all our records, he falls in the top 10 in all our records that we have in the wrestling program. He is 3rd in career takedowns. He has 240 takedowns as a junior. He will for sure surpass the number 1 person next year as long as he has a season similar to this year. He is 6th in career falls with 49 pins in his tenure here with us. He is 9th on the career wins list, 107 wins. And if he replicates this season, he will leave holding all 3 of the career records for takedowns, pins, and wins. No doubtly. We've had 3 previous athletes in the wrestling program that have been 3-time state qualifiers. Ilya is the 4th. Ilya is the 3rd 2-time medalist. So that means he comes home next year as bringing a medal home, hopefully the state championship medal. He will be the only wrestler in Vernon Hills history to be a 3-time state medalist. So I know he's got his sights set high. We have them for him as well. The sky's the limit for this kid. We're super excited for to have one more year with him after what he's done the last 3. All right, thanks.
Students receive certificates and takes pictures with school board members for about the next 30 seconds. Dr. John Gilliam.
All right, next we're going to bring up 2 gymnasts. One, Maya, is a young up-and-coming gymnast who had some tremendous success this year. And then we're honored to have up here one of our seniors who has been to this podium several times. And just on a personal level, it's been a joy for me as a building principal to watch Livy Tron compete in multiple sports over her 4-year career. She kicked this thing off with a state championship as a freshman and has continued to win medal upon medal upon medal. So maybe the last time I get to introduce her to this crowd. And I'm just honored to have been her principal. So Denise Caden is the women's gymnastics coach, and we're going to bring Denise up to talk about these young ladies.
Denise Caden approaches the podium.
Once again, thank you to the board for having us. It's kind of become routine for us every spring. We get to, kind of show our faces, show our accomplishments. So thank you once again for having us. First off is my sophomore, Maya Brusso. Maya has been a member of the gymnastics team for the past 2 years. In her freshman year, she was my only freshman on my varsity squad. So if that says anything right there, she settled in, she made an impact right away. She earned, one of the top 3 spots in my lineup as a freshman on our varsity squad her first year. And individually, she qualified to state on beam, floor, and all around last year. And then helped us bring home another 5th place team finish last year. Maya's a very humbled athlete. You would never know, her strengths, how well she performs. She's just super humble, and she spent her off season doing what she does best, which is working hard, setting goals. And that brought her into this season where she qualified for state on every single event and all around, and brought herself home a 3rd place all around medal. Which, not many gymnasts do. They don't do that. Like, to excel in all 4 events, is something super special. And I'm very proud of her. And for only being a sophomore, I can't wait to see what she does the next 2 years. And then the second athlete I have to honor tonight is senior Livy Tron. Livy has been a 4-year member and a vital part to our success of our team along the way. I had to write a lot out because there's a lot to this special girl. Livy started her career as a freshman, and she had success throughout that year, helping bring home our first state or 2nd place finish as a team, but she also came home a state champion as a freshman on vault her freshman year. 2023 brought more success for her as she was able to help secure another 2nd place team finish, and then added 3 more medals of her own her sophomore year, a 3rd on floor, 5th on vault, and 4th all around. Her 2024 season added another amazing accomplishment to her wonderful resume. She finished 5th on vault at state and helped us place 5th as a team again last year. Livy is an athlete who doesn't take no for an answer. She's a determined athlete, and it showed so much through her final season. Livy has been dealing with shin issues the last couple of years, and she set a goal to finish her senior year strong. Her ability to communicate with me, communicate her goals, we were able to set a training strategy together to keep her healthy, and she learned to lean a lot on her teammates this season. As a senior, she ended up qualifying individually to state on vault, beam, floor, and all around. Livy had a phenomenal night at state by placing 2nd and all around, just right above Maya. So to have a 2 and a 3, you could not have a happier coach. It's such an accomplishment. In that accomplishment by itself, it also followed up with her final medal, which was a 5th place on vault this season. I can't even keep track of all of her medals. I try and count them all up. I can't. It's tough to count up. But I think what's more importantly for Livy is the person she's grown into in her 4 years here at Vernon Hills. And to her teachers, her parents, to everyone, to have not only an athlete grow athletically, but personally is such an amazing thing. And I'm proud to be a part of it, and I'm honored to be both their coaches. So thank you so much.
Students receive certificates and takes pictures with school board members for about the next 30 seconds. Ray Albin approaches the podium.
Good evening, everyone. While Libertyville 2 had a couple of student athletes worthy of recognition, and though they could not be here tonight, just want to read their names into the record. So in boys, the swimming and diving, Hayden Cook finished 13th in IHSA in diving. And for the first time ever in the Libertyville High School athletic history, Mary Minogue finished 6th in IHSA girls wrestling. And that is the first at Libertyville High School. So congratulations to both of them, and we will get their certificates to them tomorrow. So thank you.
Thank you. Before I sit down, I just want to recognize something that happened to our Vernon Hills community and family over the weekend. Coach Bill Monroe was a tennis bowling coach. He most recently worked as a valued member of our ESP staff as an instructional aide in the physical welfare department. Many students know him as the kind gentleman who lends the rental PE uniforms to those who occasionally forget them. Bill Monroe was a fine man. I don't know of a single person who has ever said an ill word about Bill Monroe. I spent many years with Bill and his wife cheering on our own children on the tennis courts and the bowling alleys. And over the weekend, we lost Bill. He succumbed to some injuries after an accident, and it has devastated our Vernon Hills community. Bill is survived by his wife, Lynn, and his 2 sons, who both graduated from Vernon Hills, Jared and Alec. And so our hearts, our thoughts, and our prayers go out to his family and his loved ones. Like I said, he's a member of our physical welfare department, and I know for a fact there are many of those teachers and ESP members who are hurting distinctly today. We met this morning with players from his bowling and tennis teams who are mourning the loss as well. And so I want to recognize tonight what a fine man Bill was and the impact that he had on our school and on this community. And at this time, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence to recognize Bill. Thank you. And I do know this, Bill would say, continue on and celebrate the good work of D128. So I know in a second, we're going to turn it over to these guys to celebrate what happens in these schools, and he would want it no other way. So thanks.
Thanks, John.
Jim Batson.
Okay. Now's the time for an invitation for public comment. We have nobody signed in, but I will open up the microphone if anyone wants to make a comment.
Pause for the public.
Okay. Hearing none, we'll move on. We have a teacher union report.
Paul Carnstead approaches the podium.
All right, good evening. So I have one quick news item to open our report before we kind of get into the larger report. So last week we held our executive board elections for our teachers union. We hold this every 2 years. And we wanted to share with you guys the officers that will lead the union for the next 2 years. So Monica Caldecott, Vernon Hills librarian, will be continuing as our president. Paul Carnstedt, that's me, will be serving as the vice president. Mary Kate Shanebeck opted not to run for re-election. Sarah Gorley, an LHS math teacher, is going to be serving as our secretary. Nikki Olszewski, LHS math, is continuing in a role as treasurer. Katie Bacher, who's a science teacher at LHS, will continue as our LHS building rep. And Wendy Meister-Loria, who is a Vernon Hills EL teacher, will be serving as our VHHS building rep, replacing Jason Rush, who also didn't run for re-election. We will be transitioning over the next few months. The terms don't officially start till June 1st. So I as much as I want to thank Mary Kate and Jason while I'm here, the reality is they still got 2 months left on the job. So I'm not going to do that. Um, so anyway,
Congratulations to all,
yeah.
of you, by the way.
thank you.
Look forward to working with you.
Thank you. And we look forward to working with you guys as well. So tonight, our union felt it was appropriate to update you on a very important topic that you guys discussed last week and are discussing later tonight, and that's sectioning and staffing. So last Monday, you received a staffing report from our administration at the P&P meeting, and you're going to vote on it tonight. This process and its effects on class size, staffing, and programming have been a fairly contentious topic during the last 2 years, especially in light of decreasing enrollment in our schools. So we recognize the tense tenor of our reports on these topics last year, and some of you might be feeling some unease that I started mentioning that, but I want to start by just injecting a little relief at the top of this address. There were a lot of positives about this process, about sectioning and staffing, and a lot of things that we are happy about as a union that we'd like to acknowledge. We will address some concerns that fall on the table of the Board of Education, but we want to start by reporting on the positives that we feel everyone in this room wants to continue. So this year, the district started following a memorandum of understanding in which our union executive board and district leadership met and went through sectioning data and discussed any potential concerns. We had 2 separate meetings. It was a Friday meeting and a Monday meeting. And our administration listened to all of our concerns, both big picture and granular. We felt heard. We saw action on a few of the items that came of this meeting, and we were very pleased to see that. We had some really constructive conversations about class optimums. Our teachers do not feel that being above the optimum is best for students in a single class section, as simply it decreases the amount of individualized instruction for any student. On the other side, the district needs to be financially responsible and needs to run courses as close as possible to this optimum without extending financial resources to be overstaffed wherever possible. These 2 priorities are going to sometimes be at odds at multiple points throughout the process every year. There's always contingency, FTE, et cetera, to put some ease on this process and allow some grace when balancing these 2. But in our different positions as teachers union and district, we may weigh these 2 priorities a little differently. An environment of collaboration, respect, and trust is necessary in order to navigate this. We're pleased to say that we're mostly satisfied with this process. We hope that we had some input that helped, and it also gave us the ability to communicate with our members with more context when they come to us with questions. So this process really feels like a net positive, and we feel the collaboration should continue. We felt it important after these meetings to emphasize to the board a few philosophies as a union as it relates to sectioning that we shared at those meetings. We felt we wanted to publicly acknowledge these philosophies. So we believe first in the talent of our staff. We believe our teachers are an important piece of our district's overall educational success. Recognizing this important fact isn't an issue when enrollment is steady, and it's not an issue when enrollment is increasing. But when there's declining enrollment and there are financial challenges in a district, it can be difficult to keep teachers whole. That's union speak for retaining a full-time job without challenging the usual class sectioning practice. While waiting it out for someone to retire or enrollment to swing back in a positive direction, this might mean running an extra section of a class here or there. Some of our teachers may have to shift to other subjects they're certified in, but not necessarily as experienced in order for a year or 2 in order to alleviate some of the sectioning pressure elsewhere that might cut a full-time teacher to part-time status. We wanted to state on the record that a declining enrollment should not result in losing our talented teachers. Remember that these are the teachers who will be the experts as enrollment is increasing. The teachers you will depend on to provide quality education we expect at District 128 years down the road. The teachers who you want mentoring the young teachers of the future in the district. This philosophy was discussed during our sectioning discussions last week, and we feel our administrative team agrees with us. We feel there were a few small changes amounting to less than 1 FTE they made in order to ensure that we retain our excellent staff. While they were not the exact suggestions we had, they made it happen, and we applaud admin's decisions. We believe and hope that you guys applaud those decisions as well. The second philosophy that we have as a union is about the importance of running electives. As an example, we expressed our disappointment last year when the decision was made to not run French 1 at LHS during the 24-25 school year, excluding students who did not have an opportunity to take that class at their middle school. When approaching our electives programs and sectioning, it can turn into a numbers game. If only 10 kids sign up for a class, we may not run it every year. Some classes have always existed this way, and some classes still survive by running every other year. However, there are some classes that are connected to others, and their success has potential fallout. An example for this upcoming 25-26 school year is German 1 at Vernon Hills. There are a low number of requests, and the staffing report you have in front of you does not include running German 1. We view this as a potential program killer. From our vantage point, this decision says to us either we no longer can support our German program or we can't afford a German program any longer. It's short-sighted to take steps that move towards eliminating a world language from our curriculum when our enrollment is expected to start rebounding soon, and there's a new world languages requirement in the state of Illinois starting in the 28-29 school year. A different example we have is a new Project Lead the Way course at Vernon Hills that was scheduled to be added this year. It's not running, even though students requested the class. To add hurt to this loss, a previous class, Electronics 1, which has run every year, was eliminated to make way for this class. But rather than giving that course its year to get off the ground, it was decided not to run. All told, so we recognize as a union that there's some financial challenges that come with running a low numbers class. But all told, there was less than 1.0 FTE worth of classes that fit under these elective program concerns that we have. To admin's credit, they listened, they considered, they spoke more to their teams about these electives. However, the concern that was relayed to us is the district has limited resources and we need to be careful with how we dedicate those financial resources. We accept this argument, and this is why we bring it to the board. We're not asking you to micromanage our administration. We trust them when they say they've had to make some tough decisions. They've been very open with us along the way. However, we don't think this is a very significant ask in the broad scheme of things. If you have been tracking our numbers across both our big priorities as I've been going here, retaining talent and retaining programs, the additional FTE that we felt would benefit our students now and in the future amounted to less than 2 FTE. The total FTE you guys have on your report is around 300. This is an ask of less than 1% of an increase. This ask costs much less than the contracts that the board approved for just one more year last meeting. This is much less than the unanticipated interest we made on our different investments this past year. As a district, we section efficiently, on average 22.6 students per classroom, according to the Illinois report card for 2024. This is in spite of the variety of electives we do offer, which sometimes run at a lower class size and would lower our average. That 22.6 average is higher than some of our neighboring districts and lower than others, but the state average is 20.8. This is all to say the district does not section inefficiently. This sectioning practice, in fact, our efficiency elsewhere, applied to the vast majority of our classes, allows us to have some flexibility when it comes to adhering to these values of retaining teachers and programs that we feel our community values. We feel this shouldn't be a discussion in a school with the resources such as District 128. We call for our school board during the sectioning discussion today to publicly acknowledge that retaining our talent and retaining our unique electives, are priorities for our district. Please support and empower our administration to make some decisions that won't necessarily benefit the bottom line next year, but will certainly benefit our schools long term. Don't deprive students who happen to be attending our schools at a time of enrollment decline from the quality programs that have made our district special. We will ask this of our next elected board as well. We look forward to the very near future when our enrollment is projected to increase again, and hopefully this appeal will be unnecessary. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Jim Batson.
So no ESP. Let's move on to our student school board reports.
Victoria Diaz Martins da Costa.
Good evening, everyone. March was a very busy month for the Wildcats, so I will just be mentioning many different activities that happened. Starting off, earlier this month, LHS held their activities fair. This activities fair is a very popular event where we welcome some of the incoming freshman class for next year. At this event, various different clubs and sports have a pop-up booth where they explain their activity to encourage the freshmen to join when they come to LHS. Due to LHS having so many clubs and sport, this event takes up the entire main gym and is always packed. This year, LHS welcomed the class of 2029, and we are excited to meet them in the fall. As March slowly comes to an end, AP classes have also started to AP test prepping. For the majority of AP classes, this includes finishing learning new material by spring break and starting and/or continuing practice FRQs. Some classes even started a thing called AP Tuesday. And these practice FRQs, students are timed with how much time they would be given in the actual test and typically are given old test questions so students can start to see a pattern between questions and learn how to manage their time during the test that will happen in the beginning of May. Next, HOSA, the Club of Future Health Professionals, went to state earlier today and will be in Springfield until Wednesday. In fact, that is where Sire and Prem are currently, so let's wish them good luck. At state, there are many different categories that students can compete in, which include biochemistry, veterinary sciences, biotechnology, and many more. These competitions can include test taking, public speaking, and or answering typed questions. Additionally, many spring sports have already started and had their first games. Some sports, such as lacrosse and girls soccer, also had their team pictures this Saturday in order to get ready for the upcoming season. Lastly, many seniors have also started to make their final decisions on post-secondary pathways, which has been very fun for the community to see and celebrate with them. Both students and staff are now looking forward to their spring break next week and excited to finish out the year strong. Thank you.
Griffin Nichols.
Good evening, board. Sadly, that Danny and Iman couldn't be here tonight, so you're stuck with me. This month at Vernon Hills has been filled with activities and things happening all around the school. Most recently was our unified state basketball team, which secured second place. In addition, on Friday, March 7th, our inclusive fine arts class performed during 8th period and again at 7 p.m. The theme of their performance was the Olympics. Senior Maya Weinstein said she thought it was very cute and was happy to have seen it twice. Her favorite part of the show was the stage portion, especially with the ending, with the bows, where each buddy had their own song to bow to. Secondly, we recently celebrated World Languages Week here at Vernon Hills. Throughout the week, we had fun activities in the foyer full of themes of cultures all across the world. It all culminated on Friday, where our AP World Language students showed off cultural themed projects in this very room. Some of the favorites that I heard about were the guillotine, the many food stands, and ice fishing. Recently, we also had our winter dance towards the end of February. From what I've heard, the roller skating again was a big hit, but many upperclassmen, such as myself, are looking forward to prom. As of now, we are debating between 3 possible themes. Lastly, to end my segment for tonight, Vernon Hills and LHS recently had a joint field trip to the YMCA Camp McLean for our annual snowball event. This year, we had speaker Matt Bellis, who spoke about embracing the moment. We had painting, outdoor adventure, and so much more. Sadly, Vernon Hills lost the snowball fight for a second time in a row. I mean, we put up a good fight, but next year. All right, that's all for me for tonight. Thanks, folks.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
It's a big duty tonight for both of you. You had to cover for everything. Thanks again. We had some FOIA requests here. I'll just acknowledge, and then let's move into the superintendent's report.
Yes, I have a few more celebrations to share. We have news from our current and former District 128 Special Olympians. Our District 128 Unified Basketball team finished second at Saturday's IHSA State Championship. Our 2015 graduate, Mallory Marvin, competed in last week's Special Olympics World Winter Games in Turin, Italy. She earned a bronze medal in the 50-meter snowshoe championship. District 128 Special Olympian Rishi Arun competed in the state basketball skills competition this month and finished in 4th place in Division 12. Next, we have 9 Libertyville High School students that recently represented District 128 in the Regional American Chemistry Society's Chemistry Olympiad. Only 17 students from our entire Chicagoland area can move towards the national exam. with a maximum of 2 students from each school. Eli Kui and Eddie Lee both excelled in the first round test, with Eli earning the highest score in the Chicagoland area and Eddie placing third. Now they advance to the national exam on April 5th at North Central College. Congratulations and best of luck to Eli and Eddie. Next, I want to do a little board celebration. Got a little congratulations on receiving the 2 board members here tonight receive a IASB Board Leader Recognition Certificate. IASB, the Illinois School Board Association, recognizes school board members for individual time and effort devoted to learning and leadership activities provided by the association and for service to the public education community. Individuals that earn these recognition status are recognized by ASB and did so recently at a spring division meeting. And I'd like to acknowledge Don Carmichael as an established board leader. Congratulations. And then Jim Batson got the annual merit recognition. Congratulations. Next, I want to let everybody know that the new District 128 website will launch during the week of spring break. We're excited to share a fresh new look. Soon we will have an opportunity to share with stakeholders about the new tools that are part of our finalist communication suite. There'll be also opportunities for everybody to give us some feedback. So we're wishing, one more thing. Nope, I got it. We're gonna just wish the entire District 128 community a relaxing and safe spring break. Next, I have a Title IX action plan update for you, and Dr. Bryant Kelly will just give us a quick update.
Yeah, so we presented back in January the draft action plan to you on Title IX. And so we said that we would come back in March and provide you an update and a finalized action plan. So that action plan is attached to the agenda for everyone to see. And we have started on some of those items already and have had meetings and have made some adjustments with some of our locker room assignments for the spring. And we last week sent out a locker room survey to all of our students and staff at both Libertyville and Vernon Hills High School.
Jim Batson.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, thank you for that information. Move on to the consent vote agenda. These are, as a reminder, these are all items that have been discussed in committee and or are regular items that occur on a regular basis. That don't need any additional discussion. So I'll ask for a motion.
Carmichael, move to approve the consent agenda items as presented.
Hessel, second.
Okay, any questions from any board member? Okay, can we have a roll call, please, Carol?
Benjamin,
Aye.
Carmichael,
Aye.
Hessel,
Aye.
Batson.
Aye. Motion passes. Okay, now we got some action items. I will turn this over to Don Carmichael for the things coming out of the Program and Personnel Committee.
Very good. The first item A is the e-learning plan renewal that we heard at our open meeting at the beginning today. And now I don't know that we need to talk any more about it since it was already presented. So I'm looking for a motion to approve the resolution to adopt e-learning program in lieu of the district's scheduled emergency days, 3-year renewal, 2025-26 and 27-28 school years.
Batson, so moved.
Hessel, second.
Any discussion? Very good. Carol, roll call, please.
Carmichael,
Aye.
Hessel,
Aye.
Batson,
Aye.
Benjamin.
Aye.
And the motion passes. We'll move on to the next item, which is the Ombudsman Alternative Education Services Agreement. We probably should have a moment here to
So
discuss
the
that.
Ombudsman agreement is an agreement that we've been signing yearly. Normally, we have reserved slots in the past due to, I think, just some of the things that we're able to offer, and then also the Lake County Regional Office of Education can offer our students. We're not reserving spots, but we are going to sign an agreement that if we do need a student to use their services, that we're agreeing to their amount per day. So, and we talked about this at Program and Personnel.
Very good. Can I have a motion to approve the Ombudsman Alternative Education Services Agreement for the 25-26 school year as presented?
Benjamin, so moved. Hessel, second.
Any other discussion? Carol, roll call, please.
Hessel.
Aye.
Batson.
Aye.
Benjamin.
Aye.
Carmichael.
Aye. Okay, moving on to the IHSA membership renewals.
This is our annual membership renewal for both Vernon Hills and Libertyville High School to be members of the Illinois High School Association and participate in their athletics and activities. And so this is, again, we brought this at Program and Personnel, but we will need the board to vote on this.
And in order to do that, may I have a motion to approve the 25-26 IHSA membership for LHS and Vernon Hills?
Hessel, so moved.
Batson, second.
Any other discussion? And roll call, please.
Batson.
Aye.
Benjamin.
Aye.
Carmichael.
Aye.
Hessel.
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to an employment of employees. These are new additions or changes that have occurred since our PNP in committee, and so they appear here.
They are as presented, just 3 items since
Right.
last Monday.
Okay, may I have a motion to approve the employment items as listed?
Benjamin, so moved. And Hessel, second.
Carol, roll call.
Pause for roll call.
Batson.
Aye.
Benjamin.
Aye.
Carmichael.
Aye.
Hessel.
Aye.
And the motion passes. Now we're up to the annual certified staffing report.
Yes. So our annual certified staffing report, just to give you a little background, we did discuss the process at the February 10th program and personnel meeting. We also discussed the process and then this information at the March 10th program and personnel. So given background, I think, to the board, to you, and to everyone else on this process. And again, the process for sectioning staffing starts back in November with the courses that we will be offering this year. In December, normally we look at our programs, and if there's any changes in our programs, we start looking at that process. The 2 biggest drivers of FTE, so a full-time equivalent for our teachers, is both programs that we offer and also the courses that our students select. This year, one of the programs that we did look at that process started in January was looking at our academic intervention model. And so that academic intervention model is included in our staffing report. So that was one of the big programmatic changes. But again, the biggest driver of our full-time equivalent for our staff and our sectioning is the courses that our students select in January and February. Once that selection is done from our students, our buildings, our department chairs, and our principals work together on looking at what courses that they are able to offer in their departments. And again, looking at utilizing the collective bargaining agreement that we have with our teachers union that includes the optimum of our classes. Most of our optimums are 25. We have some classes that may be smaller or bigger depending on the course that is being offered, but we do our best to look at that optimum. In the past, I think this past year, 90% of our classes were at the optimum or below the optimum. And so we take that in consideration when we are choosing which classes that we are going to offer. There are some tough choices that we have to make, and that's working with the department chairs, our building administration, and district administration when running classes. So if we have enrollment that doesn't meet using like the 25 optimum, if it's not 15, then we really start looking at whether or not we should run the course. And there's some drivers on whether or not we run the course. What's the history of the class? Is this something that we have offered every other year and the enrollment goes up and down? What's the effect on students and staff when we're looking to run the class? Is it a capstone class? Can the course be combined maybe with another one? So there are some classes that we do talk to the union about, and we look at combining those classes. So a teacher, for example, might be teaching acting studio and theater technology together so that those students can still have the class. So we're looking at ways that we can offer as many courses to our students as possible. We do offer a lot of electives, I think, across all of our curriculum. But there comes a time we have to make some, tough decisions and weigh the, both the people and the financial aspect of it and make some of the tough decisions. But I thought in looking at our collective bargaining agreement and looking at our MOA that I know that Paul referenced, that we had good discussions with our union. We worked together on coming to some of our decisions. And so the sectioning and staffing report that, we have before you today, we kind of broke it down into, we look at our classroom FTE, and you can see that we are recommending a 1.0 increase in our classroom FTE. Then you also have classroom FTE with EL, our pause program, special services, and then also transition pathways. And in that classroom FTE, you're looking at a 0.5 increase. In the non-classroom FTE, we do have some non-instructional assignments that teachers have. So that could vary from being an equity coach, instructional coach, a data coach in the buildings. We also have our student services, our LSTs. And so your social workers, your counselors in the buildings. Special services are non-instructional positions. You can see that there was an increase of 1.3. At transition pathways, there was a decrease of 0.3. I think we tied in with speech pathology at transition pathways. There was a slight change I want to point out from the report on PMP to now. It did show that the district office personnel, it was a little slight different change. We, for the first time last year, had a hearing itinerant that we hired. And so I think my calculation with the hearing itinerant on what we are using her for and what shared service was a 0.8 last year. Now it's a 0.7. So there is a slight difference. I showed a total FTE at PMP of 2.5, and now it's showing 2.4. So that was just that hearing itinerant. Dan and I, when we looked at it, we wanted to make sure that we are capturing, we have two people that we call in the district office, but really they're working with all of our students at Transition Pathways, Libertyville, and Vernon Hills High School. They're just kind of, they're housed there. So our therapeutic day students that are being placed. So this is our staffing report. The other thing that we do when we look at all of our sectioning staffing is, yes, we do take into consideration our people, because our people, our staff, both our teachers, ESP, are very important to us. And so we really, take that into consideration and really make sure that we are making good decisions, not only for today, but also for the future. So that is our staffing report. The next, there is another agenda item. So we're asking for the board to approve this sectioning report, which includes a FTE, total FTE change of 2.4.
Don Carmichael.
I noticed that there's also an additional contingency request.
So the contingency request is something that we add in every year. And so you could have things that change over the spring or the summer from, students moving into the district. You could have that when you put the schedules together, that for whatever reason, maybe they can't get into a class that they want and the students move. And now we start looking at classes that might be over that optimum. So our buildings do our assistant principals for student services, do a good job, I think, of looking at that, keeping their eye on that, and then they'll talk to building administration and then district administration. And I know in the past couple of years, we have used part of that contingency.
Don Carmichael.
So that's if
Momentary pause.
students are sectioned, perhaps because of the APA, they're placed into a class that they might struggle with. If those students move, that might overburden some of, like we had a plan for that last year.
So
is this sufficient to cover?
So like last year, if we had, we look at some classes that maybe we have students that drop down to, and we had room in some of those classes to be able to absorb that. If you have that drop down like in the fall after classes start and you have to add a contingency, yes, we could do that. Most of the time our contingency is used spring, summer, getting ready for next year.
Dr. Tom Kulentes.
Yeah, a good example from this year was we had a large number of students sign up for government for summer school. And while that is a graduation requirement, and we believe students are sincere in that they're going to pass summer school government, if a large number of them were to withdraw because their plans change, or if we had a number of failures from summer school, that could see a group of 20 to 25 students re-entering this the need for government in the fall or the spring. And because we try to staff very responsibly, that might create a need for an additional section. And that's when we would review that data and then go and say, should we create a contingency section for that? So that's an example of how that FT can be used.
One more context. So for even with everything last year of the 1.0 contingency, we ended up using 0.8 of it. And so another way to think about it is the staffing has 301.5 FTE for teachers. Basically what we're asking for is authority to go up to 302.5 without having to come back to the board and ask for additional FTE.
Especially during the summer when we only get together once a month. That can be very difficult in planning for the beginning of the school year.
I'd like to acknowledge the participation of the union in the process this year. I think that the MOA was appropriate, and I just thought it was nice that the reports that we were getting is that we were really working together, and I want to thank you for that. All right, well, I guess I'm looking now for a motion to approve the annual certified staffing report for 25-26 as presented.
Batson, so moved.
Hessel, second.
Any further discussion?
I just also would really like to acknowledge the collaboration between our teachers union representatives and our administration. This is an incredibly busy time of year for both our teachers and our administrators. In addition to collective bargaining, everything that's going on directly with students in the buildings. And it's really nice to see the transparency with which this process went and how we've acknowledged the improvement after the concerns of the last couple of years. So thank you to our hardworking teachers union representatives and to our administration who was really collaborative and responsive. I also want to acknowledge our interim superintendent because I think that there's some credit due there for the facilitating of those improvements as well. So thank you to everybody. I would echo Paul's words that I think this process turns out to be a win-win-win for students, for everybody in the district. So thank you.
Carol, roll call.
Carmichael.
Aye.
Hessel.
Aye.
Batson.
Aye.
Benjamin.
Aye.
Very good. Motion passes. Now we are at the annual certified staff employment recommendations for 25-26.
So this is based off of now staffing, sectioning. So this is looking at having you approve our first and second year and third year teachers coming back, and also recommending some of them for tenure. And then as part of the process under Illinois, that all part-time teachers are released. Although, some of them will be coming back in either a part-time or full-time status for next year. So again, our recommendation is to approve the annual certified employment recommendations.
And this was both the last one and this one were also discussed in detail at FNF and PMP, but they don't go into the consent vote agenda because these are not routine items.
Correct. Since we only do these once a year, we don't just put them into consent agenda.
Very good. Let's see.
Lisa Hessel.
And Bryant, you always do a good job of explaining to us that all the conversations that affect the people that are listed in the staffing report have been had long before it comes to the board, so there are no
Correct.
surprises.
Yes, correct.
All right, I do not see that this requires a motion.
Momentary pause.
Yes, there's a recommendation to approve.
Oh, there it is. It's on the prop. Okay, I had scrolled too far. So may I have a motion to approve the annual certified staff employment recommendations for 25-26 as presented?
Benjamin, so moved.
Batson, second.
Carol, roll call.
Wait a
Oh,
minute, I
sorry.
just have one comment. I'd like to congratulate all those teachers who earned tenure
Oh, yeah.
with this motion.
Thank you, James. Okay, Carol.
Hessel.
Aye.
Batson.
Aye.
Benjamin.
Aye.
Carmichael.
Aye.
Don Carmichael.
Okay, so the last item of mine is the non-union educational support professional salary raises.
So we have in our school district, we have our teachers union, which is covered under the collective bargaining agreement. We have our educational support professionals that are included in their collective bargaining agreement. We also have some individuals in our school that we also have administrators that are covered under their individual contracts. We also have some individuals that are non-union educational support professionals. And the reason that they are not in the union is that due to their positions, they're either overseeing other ESP, and so they're coordinators, or so they're managers, and so they can't be in the union, or they work with administration on confidential information. And so we do have 15 support professionals that are not covered under the collective bargaining agreement. And so we are, coming to you with a recommendation for their yearly salary raise. And this would be for the 25-26 school year. Some of them are 12-month positions, so it would go into effect on July 1.
Don Carmichael.
May I have a motion to approve the non-union educational support professional salary recommendation as presented?
Hessel, so moved.
Carmichael, second. Any further discussion?
No.
Carol, roll call.
Batson.
Aye.
Benjamin.
Aye.
Carmichael.
Aye.
Hessel.
Aye.
Motion passes, and now I turn it over to FNF and Chairman Dr. Batson.
Back to me. We have two items coming out of facilities and finance. The first one is the Libertyville High School ceiling and lighting replacement project. This will be a summer project. We've talked about this in the committee. Dan, any last minute thoughts to add to this?
No, just to complete the ceiling and lighting replacement in the hallways at LHS.
I'd like to have a motion to approve the LHS ceiling and lighting project base bid with Ephraim Carlson Construction for a total of $223,000.
Carmichael, so moved.
Hessel, second.
Any questions or comments?
Just to confirm that there have been no changes since last week's
The
FNF.
only changes have been uploading accurate letters.
Oh, thank you for correcting those.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it.
Thank you. Carol, roll call, please.
Batson.
Aye.
Benjamin.
Aye.
Carmichael.
Aye.
Hessel.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. And then we have a 2-year agreement for the block safety system. This was also discussed at committee.
We did not discuss this at committee.
Well,
Just
it was
to clarify.
discussed.
It was
discussed
a
at a
board
yeah,
meeting.
It was
prior.
discussed at a previous board meeting. So we need a motion to approve a 2-year agreement with FOC for a 2-year total of $45,050.
Hessel, so moved.
Carmichael, second.
Any questions or comments from the board?
No.
Okay, Carol, roll call, please.
Benjamin.
Aye.
Carmichael.
Aye.
Hessel.
Aye.
Batson.
Aye. Motion passes. We have a few informational items here, something Don will be happy to hear.
Come on, Dan.
Hopefully, solar RFP update.
Yeah, this took longer than I wanted to, but we are here. So we have a draft out to our building envelope consultant who is now making their changes. Once we get those, I think he started on it this weekend. Once we get those back, we'll kind of take a look. And then after that, we'll probably check with a few other consultants to get a sense of what this is, because we want to find the balance of having it be open enough that gets us what we're looking for, but not too restrictive, so that like only one person would ever be able to do something like this. So we're excited to move forward. Once I get the drafts back and get a sense of when the RFP will actually hit the street, then I can build a timeline of when we would bring it back. So we're moving forward with that process, and we're excited for the next steps.
Thank you,
Do we
Dan.
anticipate that in weeks, months?
Dan Stanley.
I believe weeks. So I just checked in with Mark today. That our envelope consultant Tony Loden was working on it
Okay.
already. So I'll give him a few more days and then check in to see how it's
Okay.
going.
So we may have more information by the next board meeting. Okay. Board comments and events.
We're going to discuss the
Yeah.
division.
Okay. I'll give a brief IASB report. We had our spring or winter, I guess, spring meeting for the Lakes Division of IASB this past week. Lisa joined me in that dinner, so that's where these things came from. But it was also a great meeting presented by a couple individuals talking about the IASB's Vision 2030, which is a new initiative that they have. So that was a good meeting. Other than that, we'll be having I'm on the division leadership team, so we're planning our next meeting, but probably not until early May. So we were working on that as well. And I will be spending some time later this week representing D128 at the National COSPA Conference, the consortium of state school board associations. That's a big mouthful. So happy to represent D128 and the Lakes Division at that event. So, CEDAL?
Yes, we have a little bit of an update. We had a meeting back on the 5th of this month. Just as a reminder for anyone tuning in, we have students from our home District 128 placed out to CEDAL schools. The co-op serves as a place where exceptional students can receive exceptional services that they may not be able to have access to within district. So CEDAL has had a few years of light tumult. There's been leadership changes. There has been a few financial auditing issues that have come up that are challenging. And then there's also the added challenge of upcoming changes to our membership costs to member districts. So we had an update on our continuous improvement plan, which was put into place back in the fall of 23. Goal 1 deals with student performance and improving that. Goal 2 addresses a sustainable and equitable financial structure that best supports needs of student and member districts. Ultimately, the goal is for 2/3 of member districts to say yes to the proposed structure. And this is going to be top of mind for our governing board in the near future as exec board brings us recommendations that will determine the financial health of the co-op and accessibility for students in member districts for the short term and for the long term. Goal 3 has to do with advancing our high standards and expectations. This means lots of increased professional development for staff and building a procedural manual actually for IEP management, which one would think that would exist already, but believe it or not, these aren't necessarily, they don't operate the same in every district or co-op. And CEDAL is looking to streamline their IEP management. Goal 4 deals with advancing effective collaborative team practices, which includes communication improvements, unveiling a new website, sharing of growth and celebration surrounding that growth, and also a more public sharing of goals and accomplishments. In terms of finances, despite a very glaring miscalculation and misreport from last fall, It is expected that the fiscal year 23 audit, I know we're still auditing back our FY23 year, will come back as a clear opinion. So that's good and better than the co-op expected. That audit is near completion. We're just waiting on reporting regarding our ESSER funds, which, as a reminder, is like during COVID funding for anything related to loss of learning, etc. So we anticipate an accurate FY23 fund balance, and our FY24 audit completion should happen by the end of this current fiscal year. And with all of this, we are hoping to support our financial system changes that, as we move forward as a co-op, will provide greater assurance and transparency for the CEDAL community and member districts. This is all important because, again, we have students that we place out to CEDAL, and as stewards of the tax dollar, this is something that collectively we contribute to as a community. So it's important to know where finances stand within the Special Education District of Lake County. And that was my last meeting. It was my pleasure to serve as the liaison to CEDAL, and I hope the next person enjoys serving as much as I did. So thank you.
Thanks, Kara. And thank you for your service on the CEDAL board.
It's
been very, very helpful, I'm sure, for them as well as us.
It's an exceptional place, and if you don't necessarily know a person or have a person who's gone, used the services of CEDAL, very quickly you come to realize by attending these meetings that they are just absolutely essential, that the things CEDAL is able to do for students we can't do. So our own district kids get opportunities beyond what we can provide here. So it really is a wonderful place to be a student and a staff member.
Great, thank you. Next on the agenda is just a listing of future agenda items for review. We have our committee meetings in April and our upcoming April 28th board meeting. We are now going to convene into closed session for two topics: collective negotiating matters, 5 ILCS 120/2C2, and employment of employees, 5 ILCS 120/2C1. Once that is complete, we will have an action item as noted on the agenda when we come back. So I have a motion to move into closed session.
Carmichael, so moved.
Hessel, second.
Roll call, please.
Carmichael.
Aye.
Hessel.
Aye.
Batson.
Aye.
Benjamin.
Aye.
Okay, we'll move into closed session. Thank you.
Text on the screen says, "The board is in closed session." Fade into board members seated at table.
Jim, you're going to ask for the motion.
Jim Batson.
Ready? Okay, I need a motion to, where am I? To resume live stream recording? No, a motion and second to return to open session.
Hessel, so moved.
Carmichael, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Okay, I need a motion to approve the resolution authorizing notice to remedy.
I move to approve a resolution authorizing notice to remedy for Sean Farrell.
Hessel, second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Pause for note taking.
Hessel.
Aye.
Batson.
Aye.
Benjamin.
Aye.
Carmichael.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Need a motion and a second to adjourn.
Hessel, move to adjourn.
Benjamin, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No, I can't vote. So Sonal's not here to oppose. Okay, thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Fade to District 128 logo. Fade to black. End of meeting.